Have you ever felt two opposite forces living inside you? One side filled with light that longs to heal, and the other burning like fire, ready to destroy every lie around you. If you're a Gemini, you know that feeling well. God gifted you with a mind as fast as lightning and a soul as vast as the sky, but that very gift is also your greatest challenge. People see you as unpredictable, yet only you know the truth. You are two souls in one body, one that knows how to love deeply, and another that understands what it means to feel utterly alone in a crowded world. Gemini is the sign of duality, as gentle as a summer breeze, yet as fierce as an unexpected storm. They can smile through pain, speak softly while their mind races 1,000 steps ahead. And when the world dares to underestimate them, Gemini's intelligence doesn't explode outward. It burns inward, quiet, but devastating. Because once a Gemini sees who's standing in their way, they don't fight with weapons. They fight with wisdom. And their intellect is something no one can ever predict. The universe has placed within Gemini a dual mission: to illuminate with the torch of knowledge and to awaken with the power of truth. They can be the ones who guide the world forward, or the storm that dismantles everything built on deceit. So today, sit with me for a moment. Prepare yourself a cup of tea or your favorite coffee. We're about to begin a journey into the two-faced power of Gemini energy, to understand why their mind is both the light that leads and the fire that can burn down anything that stands in their way. If you believe that intelligence is Gemini's strongest fire, comment that below, then hit like and subscribe, so we can continue diving deeper into the soul of Gemini together. Part 1. Introduction. A cosmic warning for Gemini. Have you ever felt like you're living two different lives at once? One part of you longs for peace, love, and trust, while the other remains watchful, sensitive, and endlessly observant of every glance, every subtle shift around you. If you're a Gemini, you understand this better than anyone, because within you live two souls, light and shadow coexisting, clashing yet blending, like two sides of a coin the universe engraved long before you were born. God blessed Gemini with a rare force, the energy of duality. While other signs learn to master oneself, Gemini was given a higher task: to master both selves at once. One half of you reaches toward the skies, curious, creative, free, and hungry for discovery. The other dives deep within, complex, analytical, and so perceptive that at times even you are startled by your own power. People say Gemini is hard to understand, but they don't know that every Gemini is a miniature universe, where light and darkness collide endlessly, birthing countless versions of the self. When you speak, you're not just expressing words, you're experimenting with them, like an alchemist shaping ideas. And when you fall silent, it's not stillness. It's your mind quietly mapping hundreds of possibilities at once. The universe placed you under Mercury's protection, the planet of thought, intellect, and communication. That's why you carry an uncanny gift: to understand what others don't say, to sense what they hide, even to foresee how every story will end. It's a blessing, but also a curse. Because when you see too deeply into human nature, sometimes you no longer know what's real and what's illusion. Gemini is air, and air can never be contained. You drift through people's lives as gently as a breath. Yet when you leave, your absence echoes. Because you don't just touch them with your presence, you touch them with your mind, your curiosity, your energy. And that makes you unforgettable. But this same power makes you unpredictable. When betrayed, Gemini doesn't scream or retaliate, they simply withdraw. And then, their mind does the rest. Many believe Gemini is the sign of change, fickle, restless, inconsistent. But that's a misunderstanding. Gemini doesn't change because they're shallow. They change because they evolve. Every stage of their life is a shedding of skin, revealing sharper insight, greater adaptability, and deeper awareness. But that evolution comes with loneliness because few can truly understand a soul that lives between two worlds. If you've ever loved a Gemini, you've felt it the way they can make you feel like the only one, yet leave you wondering, are they really here with me? Because part of their mind is always in the future, analyzing, sensing, seeing what's yet to come. You can't hide anything from them, not because they spy, but because they feel. They hear the truth in your pauses, see emotion behind your words, and understand what even you can't articulate. The universe gifted Gemini with understanding, and with it, the burden of awareness. Those who see too much hurt deeply. Those who read hearts easily lose trust quickly. So Gemini smiles to hide exhaustion, speaks lightly to mask pain. They shine brightly, but behind the brilliance is a soul that knows too well the cost of knowing. If Gemini's light is the power to reveal truth, then their shadow is the desire to control it. They can be angels of insight or masters of manipulation. A wounded Gemini doesn't need a weapon. They only need words. The right ones, at the right time, and everything falls apart. Not because they're cruel, but because they understand precisely how people work. And here lies the universe's warning. Gemini's power doesn't lie in their hands. It lies in their mind and voice. The more you understand them, the more you realize they don't need to be loud to be powerful. They just need to smile, and the world naturally adjusts around them. But don't fear them. Respect them, because Gemini wasn't born to destroy, they were born to illuminate. They are the ones who see what others deny, the ones who dare to speak what others silence. They face their own reflection every day, confronting the voices inside, and still choose love, despite knowing how fragile it can be. This video isn't here to judge, but to help you understand that Gemini is living proof that light and darkness can coexist. They aren't perfect, but they're real. They're contradictory, but profoundly deep. And it's that very complexity that makes them extraordinary. The light that guides, and the fire that burns away anything that dares to block their path. Are you sure you truly understand Gemini? Get ready, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see them forever. If you are a Gemini, watch until the end, and don't forget to subscribe, so you won't miss the messages the universe is sending just for you. Leave a comment saying, "Intelligence is Gemini's strongest fire." Let the universe know you're ready to begin your journey of awakening. Part 2. The 10 dual powers of the Gemini soul. If there's one thing that made the universe smile when creating Gemini, it's this packing two vast minds into one small body, so full of restless curiosity that it could never stand still. Gemini is the embodiment of dual energy. Both the student and the teacher, the dreamer and the strategist. The 10 forces below are the 10 invisible blades of air that Gemini carries. When used with balance, they open new paths. When misaligned, they can destroy everything in their way. 1. Selective memory. The silent weapon of Gemini's intelligence. Gemini doesn't remember trivial things, they remember what matters. A glance, a careless word, one moment of doubt from someone they trusted. All of it is quietly stored in a vault of mental precision. They don't react instantly, they observe. They gather fragments, connect patterns, and wait for the perfect moment to say just one sentence, and that one truth changes everything. Gemini's memory isn't emotional. It's data. They analyze, encode, and deploy. They don't seek revenge through anger, they strike back with truth, delivered with surgical timing. No one notices, but everything has already been calculated. Gemini doesn't burn bridges, they rewire them. If you've ever underestimated a Gemini, ask yourself, isn't it terrifying that the one you thought forgot was actually the one who remembered everything? 2. Verbal manipulation. The Mercury magic. Words are sacred to Gemini. They can turn language into a soft current that soothes, or into a razor that cuts straight through your soul. No one wields language the way they do. They can silence a room simply by starting to speak. The rhythm of their tone, the sparkle in their eyes, when they find resonance, it's hypnotic. In their light form, they are mentors, inspirers, healers, people who make you believe in yourself again. But when the shadow takes over, their words become instruments of control. One compliment can make you feel loved. One pause can make you restless all night. People rarely realize they're being led until they're already too far down the path. Have you ever been convinced by a Gemini to do something, and you still don't know why you agreed? 3. The desire to be understood and the fear of being seen. Inside every Gemini is an invisible war. One side craves connection. The other fears exposure. They want to be understood, yet dread being truly known. So they build a wall of air around themselves, transparent, gentle, but untouchable. When misunderstood, they don't explode. They withdraw, smile, and quietly reorganize their emotions with logic. They joke to hide pain, act carefree, while their heart quietly bleeds. Gemini is an artist of emotion, turning heartbreak into humor, tragedy into story, and pain into poetry. If you've ever seen a Gemini smile while breaking inside, remember, that's how they protect their soul. Haman spine. 4. Emotional radar. The mind that reads between the lines. Gemini reads not your words, but your pauses. They hear tremors in your tone, see insecurity in your eyes. Mercury grants them a natural psychological radar, detecting truth through vibration. In minutes, they sense your energy. Are you being honest, or just pretending you're fine? They don't ask. They already know. That's why people feel uneasy around them. It's like Gemini sees them too clearly. When used with light, this is the gift of empathy and deep connection. But when darkness rules, it becomes emotional control, the power to guide your heart without you noticing. Have you ever felt a Gemini knew what you were thinking before you said a word? 5. Strategic shape-shifting. Living many lives in one. Gemini is adaptability incarnate. Every person they meet is a mirror that helps them explore a new version of themselves. They can be the comedian at the party, the philosopher at midnight, the passionate lover, or the quiet observer in the corner. They're not fake. They're learning through transformation. But when taken too far, they lose sight of their center. They become a reflection of everyone else. A wind with no shape, no anchor. The universe whispers a lesson. Be flexible, but never forget your roots. Only when Gemini remembers who they are can they wield the full strength of their change. Have you ever met a Gemini you couldn't define because they seemed to be everyone and no one at once? 6. Intellectual seduction. The magnetic power of the mind. No one enchants like a Gemini speaking about what they love. When passion lights their voice, it's like sunlight through crystal. They captivate not through looks, but through an intellect that never sleeps. They make you feel seen, smart, and alive simply by being near them. And soon, You crave it, their attention, their insight, their energy. When in light, they ignite hearts and awaken potential. But in shadow, they use charm as power, blending your thoughts with theirs until you can't tell them apart. That's the highest level of control, when you mistake their voice for your own. If you've ever been addicted to a Gemini's mind, admit it in the comments. 7. The smart silence. A cold and crystal strike. When hurt, Gemini retreats into silence, not from weakness, but from observation. They don't argue, because they know words are wasted. Silence is how they reclaim control, and in that silence, they let you hear your own echoes. They turn the absence into a mirror, forcing you to confront yourself. A Gemini's silence can pierce sharper than 1,000 accusations. It's cold, clear, and sharp as glass. Touch it carelessly, and it cuts. Have you ever felt the silence of a Gemini and realized it said more than words ever could? 8. Retaliation with truth. The art of flipping the board. Gemini doesn't lie, they rearrange truth. Shift a few words, highlight a few details, and the entire picture changes. They understand timing, say the right thing, to the right person, at the right moment, and the world tilts. In their light, they reveal truth to awaken others. In shadow, they use it to break illusions or people, not out of cruelty, but out of self-defense, born from too much betrayal. They make others confess without asking, because when truth passes through a Gemini's voice, it carries karmic weight. If you think this is a dangerous kind of genius, hit like to agree. 9. The victim illusion, the last defense mechanism. When all else fails, Gemini knows how to shrink. They can make the world believe they're the victim, not with tears, but with a perfectly crafted narrative. They can awaken guilt in those who hurt them, not by deception, but by understanding emotions' anatomy. It's the final defense of a tired mind that's had to be strong for too long. They don't want pity, they want safety. But if you ever mistake their vulnerability for weakness, you're wrong. Behind that stillness, they're redesigning everything, preparing their next brilliant rebirth. Do you think Gemini truly enjoys playing the victim? Or is it just how they survive? 10. The collapse when exposed. The supernova mind. When a Gemini is unmasked, when their mental armor breaks, a supernova happens. They don't fall apart because they're caught. They fall because they've lost control of the story. For them, control equals safety. Without it, they disintegrate, then rebuild. Some Geminis vanish without a trace, returning as someone entirely new. Others burn everything: relationships, careers, reputations, just to start over clean. They are the stars that explode, shining once before disappearing, only to form a new galaxy within their soul. They don't fear endings. They fear not being the author of their own rebirth. If you've ever seen a Gemini destroy and rebuild themselves, comment, "I saw the rebirth." These 10 forces are 10 mysterious doors into the Gemini mind, each with 2 sides, one facing light, the other fire. Only when they learn to face both can they become the fullest version of themselves. The universe didn't make Gemini to be easy to understand. It made them to challenge the world's perception. Because when you finally understand a Gemini, you've understood a fragment of the universe itself. If you're still here, comment, "I understand the dual power of Gemini." Let the universe know you're awakening. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next chapter will reveal what only awakened souls are ready to hear. When the light turns inward, the transformation journey of Gemini. Part 3. Transformation of the Gemini fire. This video is not meant to condemn Gemini. It is a reminder that within you lives a dual intelligence gifted by God Himself. a mind bright enough to guide others, and a heart strong enough to withstand the storms of life. Gemini was never meant to be like anyone else. They are the child of wind and light, adaptable, intelligent, and forever in motion. From the beginning of time, the universe bestowed upon Gemini the gift of intellect, but with it came the lesson of balance. Intelligence without compassion becomes a blade, but when guided by the light of the heart, it becomes a lantern that illuminates humanity. And that is the true path of the Gemini soul's evolution. Gemini lives through the left brain and feels through the right, the perfect opposition. One half analyzes, reasons, and dissects. The other loves, empathizes, and dreams. Both exist within one being, sometimes clashing, sometimes dancing. And in that sacred interplay lies a vivid life that only Gemini can truly understand. When their light is guided in the right direction, Gemini becomes the truth-bearer, the awakener, the one whose words carry prophecy. They are not merely eloquent speakers, they are conduits of awakening. When Gemini speaks, it's as if the universe borrows their voice to deliver messages. They help others see what they've ignored, feel what they've buried, and believe that change is possible. Awakened Geminis no longer care about right or wrong, winning or losing. They choose truth. But it is no longer the cold truth of logic. It is the kind that heals, a truth where intellect and compassion become one. They understand not everyone is ready for the truth, and sometimes light that is too bright can blind. So they learn to speak softer, slower, and deeper. When that light is distorted by pain, Gemini becomes the storm that burns away illusion. When betrayed or deceived, they turn into a cyclone that tears down falsehood. They force others to face themselves raw, unmasked, and real. They don't aim to hurt. Yet the truth they reveal cuts with surgical precision. A Gemini in darkness is a soul wrestling with its own intelligence. They see too much, know too deeply, and struggle to find peace inside a mind that never sleeps. They laugh, they talk, they joke, hiding sorrow in wit. Because deep down, they fear that silence might make them hear the wind screaming within. And that is when the universe whispers its greatest lesson. Learn to be still within your own brilliance. When Gemini learns to listen to the wind inside, they no longer fear it. They realize that everything they seek, love, understanding, validation, has always been within. Then, intelligence ceases to be a burden and becomes a beacon. They begin to use their fire to light others, not burn them. Gemini comes to understand that every person who enters their life is a lesson. The one who hurts them teaches boundaries. The one who loves them teaches trust. And the one who disappoints them teaches the truth about expectation. They stop seeing life as a maze to escape and start seeing it as a sacred game where every mistake has purpose. In the end, they accept that no one can ever truly understand a Gemini but themselves, and that realization no longer feels lonely but liberating. When a Gemini awakens, they become a messenger of truth. They speak less, feel more. They choose silence when words could wound, and speak only when words can heal. They've learned that not everyone needs to understand them. What matters is that they understand themselves. The universe teaches Gemini. Intelligence is a double-edged sword. It can open doors of knowledge or sever the ties of the heart. Their task is to use it as illumination, not division. They are the torchbearers walking through the night, sometimes isolated, yet the very light others are searching for. If you are a Gemini, be proud of your wings. They were not made just to fly, but to carry wisdom and freedom. Don't be afraid if others don't understand you, they don't have to. The universe does. And as long as you understand yourself, the world will eventually align with your frequency. Remember this. You were not born to please anyone. You were born to awaken someone. Every word you speak, every idea you share, could be the spark that helps another soul find its way home. But to do that, you must trust one thing: your own intuition. Gemini's journey is not about traveling far, it's about traveling deep. The deeper they go within, the more they realize their inner fire was never meant to destroy but to shine light into the darkness of others. Gently, wisely, and compassionately. So now, take a breath. Feel the wind moving through you. That is you, the true essence of Gemini, soft yet powerful, fragile yet untouchable. If you are a Gemini, be proud of your wings. Let your intelligence illuminate, not incinerate. And if you feel this energy within you, leave a comment below. Hit like and subscribe, because the messages that come next are meant for you. If you've made it this far, perhaps you already feel it. Every Gemini soul is an endless journey between light and shadow, logic and emotion, intellect and intuition. And maybe that's the very journey we all must take, regardless of our sign, learning to look inward, to accept both sides of ourselves, and to turn contradiction into strength. The message the universe wants to send through this video is simple yet profound. Intelligence is not meant to dominate, but to understand. Fire is not meant to destroy, but to illuminate. When you learn to direct your energy with awareness, every boundary dissolves. You begin to realize no one truly understands you better than you do. And that's the moment when Gemini's true power awakens. Apply this lesson in your daily life, and you'll start to feel lighter. Instead of proving yourself, focus on understanding yourself and others with kindness. Instead of arguing to win, learn to speak with empathy. And instead of hiding your emotions, allow your intellect to gently guide your heart back into alignment. Because when Gemini learns to command the wind within, they don't just transform their own life, they inspire everyone around them. If you feel this message resonates, leave a comment below. I'm learning to use my intelligence to illuminate, not to burn. Hit like, subscribe, and share, so that the universe's messages can reach more souls who are ready to awaken. Thank you for staying until the very end of this journey. Remember, the universe is always watching over you, and everything that happens is happening for you, not to you. Trust that the light within you will guide you exactly where you need to go. Until next time, when the universe has another message just for you, you are light, and the universe is always by your side.